Hello, this is Edmund Shing from BCS Asset Management. Today we're going to look at 4 key growth themes which we are using in the Global Market Mega Themes Fund already. The first theme is demographics and healthcare. We see rising demand for healthcare from aging populations in the developed world and also from rising middle classes in emerging markets. Secondly, the Internet of Things and mobile internet is driving more semiconductor chip consumption. Thirdly, we see growing consumption of energy, particularly in countries such as China and India. And fourthly, we see gold and silver perhaps becoming more popular. Rising industrial and technology demand for silver is going to drive that, and we see strong jewelry demand from retail from emerging markets for gold. If we look to the US, first of all, we can see that healthcare spending has grown a lot faster than economic growth over the last 30 years. Far faster, in fact. Now, what if we were to see a similar story in emerging markets? We can see here on this map that according to the World Health Organization, large numbers of emerging markets are still spending very, very little as a percentage of their economy on healthcare today. And this should continue to accelerate as we see the rising trend in middle classes in emerging markets. A good way for me to play this, I believe, is via biotechnology. We can see on this chart that the US biotechnology sector has outperformed the wider S&P 500 index since the beginning of 2012 and has generated nearly 10% more returns per year since then. The second theme is mobile internet and semiconductor chip demand. We can see here that it has grown substantially over the last 20 years and is forecast to continue to grow at least over the next 2. Of course, you can buy the semiconductor sector to take advantage of that. This has outperformed the S&P 500 index substantially since 2013. The third theme, energy consumption. Here we can see that it has been rising quite steadily since 2009 and is forecast to continue to rise into 2015 thanks to strength of demand in China and India amongst other countries. I think one of the best ways to play this theme is via master limited partnerships which focus on energy infrastructure in the US. Again, this is a play on shale oil and gas. This sector has seen massive outperformance over the last 5 years, beating the S&P on average by 12% per year, and I think there is more to come here. And finally, gold and silver demand. Well, we can see here on page 10 that emerging market consumers have been big buyers of gold in the last 3 years. We can see here on page 11 that as foreign exchange reserves in the Chinese central bank have risen sharply, that their gold holdings as a percentage have continued to fall, but they have said that they would like to buy more gold to add reserves in gold going forward. So this could be another source of demand for gold. Here on page 12, we can see that gold miners have underperformed the gold price really since the beginning of 2011 and quite substantially. But what we see in 2014 is that this ratio is turning in favor of gold miners. So gold miners now are going up faster than the gold price. With this to continue, we could see very big further gains for gold miners, which is a leveraged way to play rising gold and silver prices. Taking biotech, semiconductors, master limited partnerships and gold miners together, these 4 themes together have beaten the S&P quite nicely since the beginning of 2009. And I think will continue to beat the wider index going forwards. So to summarize, the 4 themes we think you should buy and which are in our Global Mega Themes Fund: healthcare, which I think you should play with biotech. Secondly, mobile internet and the Internet of Things, which you should buy via semiconductors. Energy consumption growth, which you should buy via master limited partnerships in the States. And finally, gold and silver, which you can buy via gold miners. This is Edmund Shing from BCS Asset Management saying goodbye.